All right, good morning, everyone. Hope you guys can hear me okay. Seems like it's coming through from my end. Just thought we'd jump on maybe a little bit earlier today and touch on yesterday's action. You, Obviously, FOMC and earnings combo yesterday, and really the market was, as it turns out, was waiting for earnings to make the decent moves. Um, so it was I would say a little tricky if you were trading certainly if you were trading pre FOMC, but even the FOMC didn't really produce any significant moves, and you had to be kind of in and out on those ones. For me personally, I took two trades yesterday. One was a loss and one was a win, but neither I executed particularly well. The first one was a key lesson for me. There was just need to give the non-acceptance protocol a lot more time when the market is chopping. So I know we typically say like, hey, 2 minutes, if it holds 5 points above the danger zone for a couple of minutes, then you can jump in. But it's really, it's a minimum of 2 minutes, and based on the market conditions, give it more. So maybe yesterday was more like a 5 to 10 minute kind of day for anyone trading non-acceptance protocol there. But what were your thoughts on yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday was definitely a interesting session for myself. Not the best session for myself. So it's definitely good to review sessions where you don't really perform at your best. So I took three trades yesterday. The first two trades were around the same damn 7,002, 7,006 structure. The first one, I think me and you took similarly, but that was around like afternoon, right? Just a little bit after like around noontime. Um,
Yeah, and Adam actually
and
touched on it in the
uh,
newsletter and basically said it wasn't holding above there for long enough.
yeah, so that was kind of my takeaway after I kind of, replayed it a little bit and kind of was able to kind of take another look at it in hindsight. Definitely just jumped the gun a little early. I think in that kind of scenario where we're just kind of chopping down, just 2 or 3 minutes is maybe not enough, and you probably need to wait a little bit longer. Um, so that was kind of my first tell. Now, I think the key thing is, and I think we had been saying this all day, was we kind of noticed how just slow and grindy of a sell it was. And I think that immediately should probably raise a red flag, right? I think like you say all the time, like unless you kind of get that scary flush indicator, kind of that scary flush in your mind to go off, you should kind of be a little bit aware of like, hey, will a failed breakdown trigger? So just all morning, it was a very weird sell. It was just, it's not a typical sell in ES where we just go elevator down. It was very choppy and grindy. And so that was probably a red flag to be a bit careful. As you can see, Adam just avoided all the whole choppiness. He didn't even end up taking it. And then I tried it again, the same thing, once we had some better acceptance post FOMC. I that one worked for one level. The 25% ended up trailing out. But again, that was one where just had to hold through a lot of chop. And then finally, we got a good trade after the close round earnings. And that was a good example of, you get NAP, and in that kind of scenario, really all you need to do is wait 2 minutes because, if you wait any longer, that thing is just going to keep on taking off with the volatility and momentum we have. So, yeah, I think there's a little bit of probably nuance to the non-acceptance protocol. And just, I think like we say a lot of times, you got to be very, very contextually aware of like the market conditions at that given time, right? These things can change at the like on a whim's notice, right? These change in a spur of a moment. I think that's what's very tricky sometimes is just being able to really recognize in real time what the current market conditions are and kind of adapting your entry procedure to that by small nuances.
Hmm. Yeah, that one at the end of the day, you had to be quick for sure. I mean, I think we had a level at 88 yesterday, and obviously we had the FOMC low at 91. So I was looking to get in on those, and then by the time I'd given a minute, I want to say there was a little bit of acceptance at 88 down here. I can't see it on the 15-minute here now, but came to 88, back to 85, and pushed. And then by the time I sort of like, I'm going to get in, we were up closer to the 7,000 mark. It had just gone. So,
Yeah, I think with the non-acceptance protocol there, I took it around like 7,003.
hmm
Which I mean, I guess is fine. I mean, like at the end of the day, if you have that much momentum pushing it, you just have to try to get a level to level move.
hmm
I'll be curious to see how Adam executed that. Not little curious to see if he did the same thing or not.
yeah, for sure. Okay, so on to today. I mean, we're still in the same range after all of that. Still, we're actually trading within yesterday's range here. Just eyeballing it, but like right, well, maybe in the upper a little bit upper portion of yesterday's range. So for the cards today, hopefully most folks are in a runner from something yesterday. I also took the the add-on strength here at 7,006. I'd only taken this end of day trade small, so I didn't actually have any runners from that. Um, so I've got a runner from 7,006, which isn't ideal. I don't think I'm going to trail that too much under this little low here, right around 7,000. So this, what's this, 7,010 low? Thought that might develop into something, but really at this point it's only a 15-point low. So barely scratching the surface of what would be considered significant. So I don't think at this point there's much to engage there unless we can push on higher and flush it later. But 7,006 is maybe the first level. You know, Adam has just tweeted out something to the effect of its support. He didn't necessarily say watch for traps there. Obviously, it's not a significant low. It would be a support and resistance level that you'd be looking for it to reclaim. I think the first level of interest is down here for me is down at the 91 area, especially if we can take out these two evening session lows, which are down at 85. Um, you maybe could trade those themselves, but I'll probably look for the reclaim of Adams' major level at 91, which was also the FOMC low. So just to clear out that a little bit. What's the first thing you're looking at today?
So I'm gonna be a little bit just try to be a little hands off today in terms of you know really good levels to engage in. So my number one priority would be that's 769.77 low that we set post earnings. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of the thing I like, obviously the best for today. We do have a little bit of structure above it as well at 69.86 or so. That's a nice low as well. You could watch that. That's where we bounced yesterday evening to get back to the highs. So that's also a good spot if we're not able to flush 77 and we just stop there. The 70-10 could turn into something later. I mean, right now it's too shallow of a dip and not enough of a bounce yet. But if we're able to bounce off it, that could be something. But today I'm just gonna really focus on just the highest quality ones. So for me, that's most likely just 77 and potentially 86 depending on how it sets up. But definitely priority is 77 today.
Okay, good deal. And so you're in from about 7,000. You've got a runner from there. Are you gonna trail that maybe under the 86 here, or have you tightened that up a bit?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, You know, Technically, it would probably be better for me to start trailing that up a little bit. So, because otherwise I'd be taking a 25-point hit on that 10% runner.
Mm-hmm.
Which, wouldn't be too bad. I mean, that's like 2.5 points. But, like we talk about all the times, like these things do matter. I mean, you start adding it up over time, and it's like, if you got a 5-point trim and you're now taking out 2.5 points on a runner, it's like it does start to really negate your profit takes.
Right, for sure. I
So
find that for my own trading
yeah,
is just a point later on entry, a point tighter on on exit, and yeah, man, it's really dulling the edge. Trade management is actually one of my weaknesses. I'm never maximizing. Like end of day trade yesterday was a perfect example of could have let that one run a lot further than I did.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I trade management, I think it's actually one of the more underrated things that don't get discussed a ton. I mean, even from us, I don't even think we've really even like touched on it much. But it can be very important, especially when you're a level to level trader, because if you enter a couple points higher and there's a profit take right there. Sometimes it's like, are you taking that first one? It's only 3 4 points away. Are you going to wait for the second one? Did you make a mistake by not waiting for the second one? Did you make a mistake by taking the first one and kind of letting it run a little early? Or sometimes you might have not taken it early, and now it's like, well, now you're just sitting in a bunch of drawdown. um it's tricky. It for sure is tricky. I don't know personally if there's any ways to get better at it rather than just screen time, honestly. But it's
Practice, isn't it?
definitely, yeah, it's definitely tricky.
I think they're the better problems to have. Like once you've sorted out your entries, that's the next thing to really master. I'd rather be having those kind of errors than entry errors where I'm like, oh crap, why did I enter here? that was a mistake, and
Yeah.
having to
I
deal
think
with that.
you've done a better job, right, recently, of like not trying to take super, super tight trims. Like I think I've seen a couple of times where if there's like a minor level, like 3 or 4 points away, you're trying to see if you can wait for the next one up.
Yeah, I mean that's a double-edged sword though, isn't it? Because you just knowing when to hold and when to take profits is an art form for sure, judging that volatility state. But I've had some success, but then also been burned on the other side where, comes shy. And, I love Adam's ability to, like, hey, it came a couple of points short of my first target, so I exited for 2 points on the way down. I mean, 2 points green is better than 10 points red every day. That's not a skill I have. I'm more like white knuckling it. Just holding on to it until, death do us part kind of thing.
Yeah, yesterday afternoon at 2:30, when I took the trade again above '06, that was a good example of where, like, I actually was gunning for 17.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to see if we get 17. Now the thing is like, it because of just how at that point choppy and whipsawing price was. At that point, I'd kind of made a decision in real time, like, okay, I have to just take 14 here. I cannot wait for 17 because price is just not cleanly going towards there. So like, sometimes in real time I can get a feel if we start to chop around a little bit too much, or if price is taking a little bit too long to move, then I will try to look for a way to exit it a faster. So like, I'll kind of like try to see if I can get a tighter trim. But if volatility is good and like price is moving, then I think those are examples of maybe letting it run. Like yesterday, I also think I made a mistake because in the 4 p.m. trade, I took the long at 7,003, and we had a major at 7,006, 7,007, and so I exited there for about 3 4 points. Now, the only reason I did that was because it was a major. If it was just a minor, I might have waited. But because it was a major, I didn't really want to mess around, especially given the fact that we had already lifted, nearly
Mm-hmm.
15 points off of the failed breakdown spot. So I didn't know at that point how much juice was left. Well, clearly, there was plenty of juice, and it kind of makes me go, should I have just actually stretched that out to 70/10, which was the next profit take?
Yeah, I did something similar to you with that as far as trimming too soon. I always get a bit put off when there's just all that chop before, to the left of the chart. But then when you're ripping back straight up through it, I mean, it often just cleans it out and bursts through the other side. So And the same with the 14 and the 17 you were talking about. But for me, I was actually just trying to get a second trim at 17, and I think got to like 15 something at the time. And I decided to take that second trim off at 13 or whatever it was. Yeah, not a great day for me. Just a mildly red day, but did make it up with a couple of trades after hours that kind of pulled things back there. So mixed bag, I would say.
Yeah.
I didn't do a trade recap for yesterday. If anyone's interested and it's quiet in the early afternoon, maybe we can jump in voice. And if anyone wants to share some thoughts or discuss about the action yesterday, maybe we can do that instead. I'm always interested in hearing from everyone and how others traded it. Like admin was maybe engaging in the 7,000, was it 702 or 7,004 level, and made a couple of nice trades off of that. So if anyone's interested, just put it down in the chat in the Discord, and maybe we can do something later on today if it's quiet. Other than that, let's shut down here for the open. Hopefully you get a bit of a burst of volatility. Well, actually, I don't mind either way. Either volatility to take us down to one of these levels, either 86 or 77, or just push on up so we can hold our runners. Just hopefully not too choppy today, but we'll see. All right, anything you want to close with, Mayank?
No, sounds good.
All right, great. Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you in the Discord. Bye for now.